Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. The National Guard has done such an incredible job working with the police, and we haven't had to bring in the regular military, which we're willing to do. We have to. And after we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one. But they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. Chicago's a mess.
All right, shalom to the elect of Israel. I want to start by giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. And as you see, Trump is now, mobilizing the National Guard, all right, and willing to even bring in the military, in an effort to stop, crime and illegal immigration all across Babylon the Great, all right, which is also known as America. Okay. This is recent that all this is coming out, and as you saw, he said, he's mobilizing them. And this post, let me just read the caption.
Chicago's a mess
here, because here, Trump, he started out sending everything, the National Guard and everything to Washington, D.C., right? But now, he's sending them to Chicago, man. Chicago is apparently next on the hit list, And now it says here, in the caption, Chicago is a mess. You have an incompetent mayor. President Donald Trump spoke from the Oval Office today where he shared that he had his sights set on Chicago as the next city to send the National Guard to. And here it says, breaking, the Pentagon is now working on plans to deploy the U.S. military to Chicago as soon as September, a new report says. It says, according to the Washington Post, the move is being considered as part of President Trump's push to use federal power to address urban crime, homelessness, and undocumented immigration. Similar federal deployments have already been carried out this summer in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., and Chicago has now become the next major focus of the administration. President Trump has repeatedly described Chicago as a mess and suggested the city needs a direct federal crackdown. While Pentagon officials emphasize that planning does not guarantee deployment, the discussions show that serious steps are being taken toward a possible mobilization. Active duty troops are viewed as less likely, but large numbers of National Guard members could be ordered to support operations on the ground. All right, so when being, they're sending, National Guard to Chicago, and like Edomites always say, man, basically, like they say, our Jake does most of the crimes, in America. And you see even in the post here, they got niggas, in the picture. See? This ain't nothing more, than judgment from the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right, this could possibly be, the starts of Jacob's trouble, because it didn't stop with Washington, D.C. This is not like, sometimes in the past where you might have something go on and then it, it blows over, right? No, this is increasing. Okay? This is increasing. All right? And also, right, too, now, Trump, this came out August 24, 2025, says Trump expands targets for possible military deployment to more Democratic-led cities. Says, Washington, it says President Donald Trump on Sunday threatened to expand his military deployments to more. So, one, get this in mind. They're not only putting the National Guard out there, but they're also putting the military, willing to use the military, right? This is for Jake, man. This is for our people, okay? Who do you think are the undocumented immigrants? Who do you think does the most crime? This is Northern and Southern Kingdom. Jacob's trouble. All right. You know, you got Southern Kingdom, they say, doing most of the crimes, and they say Northern Kingdom is the ones that are so-called illegal immigrants, right? They coming after Jake. All right. It says Donald Trump on Sunday threatened to expand his military deployments to more Democratic-led cities, responding to an offer by Maryland's governor to join him in a tour of Baltimore by saying he might instead send in the troops. Last week, Trump said he was considering Chicago and New York for troop deployments, similar to what he has unleashed on the nation's capital, where thousands of National Guard and federal law enforcement officers are patrolling the streets. And hey, look, man, we here in Great Millstone, our apostles and elders, and like-minded brothers under them, we've been telling you people that these times are coming. Jacob's trouble is coming. You're going to have martial law, all these things, okay? And martial law is a part of this scripture right here. This is the book of Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil Esau is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. You see? So he's coming down with that great wrath. All right. And Lord willing, it increases and increases. Okay. But continuing on. So I wanted to give this to show that, he's also considering coming to New York. Hey, look, man, it's a bad time to be a YN. It's a bad time for you YNs out there, man. You young niggas, you young ninjas. It's a bad time for you to be, that. You see? Because as brothers have pulled the scripture numerous times before. It's Isaiah chapter 51, verse 20. Thy sons have fainted, they lie at the head of all the streets, as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of Yahweh, the rebuke of thy power. Yeah. You see Jake on the corners, right? Just on bad timing. You see, just ready to go, ready to get active. You see? That's how Jake is, and they do a lot of crime. And, this is good for you YNs, man, because, this is, the culture and everything. And YNs, that whole cosmos of being a YN, right? That's nothing good. That's not profitable towards our people. And really, they hurting our own people, man. You're hurting your own people. You're making your own people look bad. So this is really good for you. Okay, that this is happening. Good. Clean you niggas up. Get you out the way. And I don't mean clean up in the sense of get you back together. Meaning to remove the filth. Okay? For good. We told Jake that these times was coming, man. We told you people out there. All right? And good. When this devil does what he does, because he's coming after you Israelites. Esau is going to roll, man. It's the last time to do what they're going to do, and they're going to do it. Now, in Washington, D.C., right? Where is it? All right. Give me 1 second. Right here, okay, it says from RedLakeNationNews.com, it says National Guard now carrying weapons in D.C. National Guard members in Washington are now carrying weapons, and detentions may occur leading to arrests, according to a statement from the force on Sunday, potentially deepening the military's involvement in President Donald Trump's federal takeover of D.C. police. Guard members will carry their service-issued weapons, which may include M4 carbine rifles and M17 pistols. A spokesperson for Joint Task Force D.C., the military mission that includes Guard members from D.C. and 6 states that are involved in the deployment, said in a statement. Guard members were seen with their sidearms visible at Union Station on Sunday. The statement said the National Guard members are operating under rules that allow use of force only as a last resort and solely in response to an imminent threat of death or serious bodily harm. So they willing to use, weapons if need be. They willing to use lethal force, meaning force to put you niggas down, man. all right, if need be. And I mean, hey, man, look, you know, these times is coming, bro. You know, we told, hey, I'm going to get the scripture. I'm just going to get the scripture. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Yeah, those that fear the Lord is not only the elect, the Israelites. I remember a brother brought out, you know, this is also Israelites in general, because, you know, only Israelites, you know, they're the ones that can, you know, fear the Lord, and they have a zeal of the Most High, not according to knowledge, but they got a zeal of the Lord. So this goes into Esau coming down on Jake, you know, like a brother said, you know, going, kicking their apartment doors in, dragging them out, killing them, all different types of things. And this is the time we living in. You know, this is the time we living in, man. All right. Now, look, I'm gonna say this: if they put one of these cities on lockdowns that they going to, all right, because it's not only Chicago they going to. Okay, it's not only that, man. All right. It says this here: National Guard mobilizing in 19 states amid immigration crime crackdown. All right, these are some of the states. It says documents obtained by Fox News show planning for activations in Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming, with status effective from August through mid-November. Texas is projected to host the most significant guard presence. All right, let me watch. I don't know if I'm gonna turn the captions on if there are some. All right, for this video here, but if not, then Salakia.
We're not playing games. We're gonna make.
Let me see. Captions on. Hold on.
Safe. And we're going to then go on to other places, but we're going to stay here for a while. We want to make
I
this
can't even hear anything
absolutely
on.
perfect. It's our capital, and I guess it used to be many years ago safe, but it's certainly not had a very good run. And you got to be strong, you got to be tough, you got to do your job. Whatever it takes to do your job, you got to do your job. But the crime numbers are way down.
Wow. Okay. Salakia, I thought my phone had died, Salakia. But you basically get the idea. All right. Let me see.
Do your job. Whatever it takes to do your job, you got to do your job. But the crime numbers are way down.
All right, so you know, that was on the move, man. You know, and Trump has this, you know, thing to make America, you know, like as his, you know, slogan goes, right? I don't want to say that shit, but you know, cause and the thing is, it's not gonna get any better. You think doing this, right, is gonna make it better? Nah, man. That's not what the Lord has planned for America. The scriptures say the Lord creates peace. The Lord does not have peace intended for America, man. Okay? You know? The Lord does not have peace intended for America. You see? Because think about it. These, you know, guards go to these different cities where Jake is at, right? You know, where you niggas at specifically, right? You know, trying to quell a crime. So quell a crime means their presence is there. You can't do nothing. All right. You know, Jake always has some type of thing with going back and forth with the police and the National Guard, you know, defying the powers that be, you know, the higher powers and everything, defying them, right? And the scriptures tell you that you shouldn't, you know. So just think about, you know, what it could go into. The National Guard goes to these cities, right? Jake, you know, gets pissed off, and then they start, you know, messing with the National Guard or fighting back, or say, you know, they get into something, and then one of the National Guards start, you know, killing, you know, and then it just continues. It continues. All right? Trump could, look, man, this man can do this man doing radical stuff. All right? You know, Trump, look what it could turn into. Now, if they lock it down, if they say they lock a city down, what is that? 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. You see that? That's coming. Okay? That's a martial law scripture. It could be, the city could be on lockdown, or, the violence, of this time could just be, the violence in that city could just be too much to where during Jacob's trouble, you won't be able to go through there. But it could also be on lockdown due to martial law. You see? I also want to get this scripture here. Hold on. It's Jeremiah 18 and 22. Let a cry be heard from their houses when thou shalt bring a troop suddenly upon them. For they have digged a pit to take me and hid snares for my feet. Yeah. When the Lord brings a troop on these Jakes, man. All right, Jake gonna realize, man, the Lord don't play around. All right, Jake gonna realize that. Okay, this is 2 Chronicles 36 and 16. But they mocked the messengers of the Most High and despised his words and misused his prophets until the wrath of Yahweh arose against his people till there was no remedy. See? Now, another thing that, by the way, before I forget, another thing, because Trump, was making all these radical moves and stuff. Look, and a lot of you niggas was voting. We told y'all not to vote. See, we've been telling, man, look, man, the prophets have been telling you Israelites out there about these times to come, how to maneuver through these times and all of that, man. But Jake just don't want to listen, right? Look, all you stupid Israelites out there that done voted. Look at y'all. We're voting. And, you thought this man was going to make everything peaceful. Look what he's doing to you. It's Revelation 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. This beast is America, and two horns like a lamb is a Democratic and Republican party, Each party, each horn represents, those parties, Each horn represents one of those parties. Democrat, one horn represented Democrat, another one represented Republican. And they both, try to come like, they're, good for you, beneficial to you. It says, and he spake as a dragon, going back in draconian laws, meaning harsh laws and everything. You see? And Trump, is bringing that about. Okay? But let me get this too. This is the book of Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, right? Because he was talking a good game when he was trying to get in office. It says, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. See? He was talking a good game, man, when he was trying to get in office. But look at what he's doing to you tribes now. You see this? You thought this man loves y'all. Okay. Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so was his wickedness. Okay? Yeah. It's like iron rusteth, so was wicked. Never trust your enemy. You trusted this man thinking he gonna make stuff good for you. Right? But now look what's going on. And it's only gonna get worse, man. It's only gonna get worse. But just to think, is to, keep your eyes open for, the stuff to come, what comes of this, because it's increasing. It's not like it's just blowing over. This is increasing. All right, yeah. And then once again, it's a bad time to be a YN. See, Jake out there, ski masked up, with guns and everything, gang banging and all of that, causing crime. Yeah, now this devil is coming after you. Okay? Now this devil is coming after you. And by the way, brothers, in case, you live in a city or whatever, and you run into these people, these guards or whatever, and they give you directions and all that, utilize wisdom. Matthew 5 and 25. Agree with thine adversary quickly. Right. Agree with him. This is while thou art in the way with them. So agree with them. He ask you to do something to direct you, for example, you driving, and they say you can't come down the street, you gotta, take a detour or something like that, or they pull you over, ask you questions and stuff. You just keep it calm and just answer their questions. Don't give them no hard time so you could get out of there using wisdom. Remember, the scripture says, soft answer turneth away wrath. You know, and in the coming times of Jacob's trouble, look, you're going to have to use wisdom. You're going to have to use wisdom, man. All right? You know, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of these scriptures, you're going to have to use it. You see? And we use it already now in this, you know, before all hell officially breaks loose. So how much more in Jacob's trouble, like, you know, the brother Amon Gabar said, basically, you know, one time. So, it's about to, hey, man, the Lord is cooking up Jacob's trouble, man. Remember, it's like, look, man, you can't see that this is the truth, all right? And that these prophecies are happening, you know, because the Lord's speeding up the days, right? And as he's speeding up the days, that means what? Things are going to start happening quicker. And now, look, we seeing Jacob's trouble, you know, start to pop off, all right? So, Lord willing, it does, all right? Because we need to go through this to get to the kingdom. So, hey, you know, brothers, just stay up, man, and keep on keeping on, and keep on looking out. You know, watch what happens. Keep your head on the swivel. Use wisdom. So with that, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone everywhere. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. Shalom to the elect.